Hey everybody, welcome back to Idiot Proof Cooking. Before we get into what I'm making today, I just wanted to have a quick chat about subscribers. As of today, I'm in and around 9,500 subscribers, and I think that is absolutely insane. When I started this channel back in April of 2021, I remember saying to Meg that if I do the channel for a year, I hope to have at least 1,000 subscribers in that year. And now I'm almost at 10,000. I am absolutely blown away by that. I didn't think there was that many idiots out there like me. So I'm really, thank you if you have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed yet, or if you're checking out the channel now, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get that number of idiots up to 10,000. But anyways, on to what I'm making this week. Meg and Rose had asked me to make some donuts for them. And you know what? I can't say no to them. So I decided to make some simple yeasted donuts with a nice simple glaze on them. But I wanted to spice it up a little bit, so some of them I've decided to dunk in Fruity Pebbles. I think that's going to taste pretty cool. But without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's make some donuts, shall we? Now keep in mind, you can mix all of these ingredients together by hand, but if you use a stand mixer, it just makes your life that much easier. Now to start, we're going to get a cup of lukewarm whole milk and pour in 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. Mix that together, just make sure it's nice and combined, and then set it aside for 5 to 10 minutes. Now while you're waiting, go get yourself 4 cups of all-purpose flour and very carefully pour it into the bowl of your stand mixer. Just make sure you don't spill it everywhere. Next in is 1/3 of a cup of white granulated sugar. Into the bowl it goes. And then in is 1 1/4 teaspoons of kosher salt. Then I'm just going to drop the head of the stand mixer with the dough hook attachment and just mix this together for like a minute just to make sure all the dry ingredients are mixed together. Then after 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to get my milky yeasty mixture and I'm going to pour it in with all the dry ingredients. Next in is 1/3 of a cup of melted unsalted butter. Pour that in. And then last but not least, 2 large eggs. Crack both of them in. Now I left mine out for about half an hour to warm up to room temperature. So after you crack both eggs in, drop the head of your stand mixer and mix this all together with the dough hook attachment for about 5 to 6 minutes. You may have to scrape along the sides of the bowl with a spatula. After about 5 or 6 minutes of mixing, you should get a nice smooth and supple dough that really isn't overly tacky. As you can see here, it's not like really overly hydrated. It actually came out quite nicely. Very workable. And then, much like pretty much every dough we deal with on the channel, we're just going to knead it into a smooth and taut ball. There we go, just like that. Then go get yourself a large bowl, throw in some oil or spray it with some cooking spray, and drop your dough ball in, swish it around in the oil so it doesn't stick to the sides of the bowl, cover the bowl in some plastic wrap, and then stick it in a warm, dry spot for the next 1.5 to 2 hours for it to rise. You're looking for it to double in size. So, like I said, it should take about 1.5 to 2 hours. What I'll typically do is stick it in my oven for that duration. After 2 hours, there you go. As you can see, the dough has clearly risen, so now it's time to start working with it. So gently deflate it, and then we're going to get some all-purpose flour and just flour up our work surface here. Pull the dough out from the bowl, and it's time to start spreading it out. Now I'm just going to spread it out with my hands a little bit, then I'm going to put a little bit of flour on top of the dough and flour up my rolling pin quite nicely, and then we're just going to roll the dough out until it's between about 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 inch in thickness. So roll that out, and then it's time to start cutting ourselves some donuts out of this. Now I'm using an actual donut cutter here. It's about 3 inches in diameter. You can use like a cup if you don't have one of these, a bowl, something small, basically anything that is circular in shape that you can cut dough with. So I'm cutting my donuts out of them, and then I'm using a smaller cutter to cut the center out of the donut. Now don't discard those because you can fry them, and if you're American you would call them donut holes. Up here in Canada we call them Timbits. But anyways, remove the cut donuts from the remaining dough and throw them on a parchment lined baking sheet just somewhere to collect them. Once you've cut all your donuts out, you can just collect all of the remaining dough, form it back together, roll it out, and you can cut more donuts out of it. But after you're done that, you're going to get a lot of donuts out of these, but before we go and fry these, we've got to give them a second rise. So cover them all in plastic wrap again, and as you can see here, I'm struggling with this pain in the ass plastic wrap. I really hate working with plastic wrap. Cover these with plastic wrap and stick them back in a warm, dry spot for another hour for them to rise again. As you can see here, they're nice and puffy after a second rise. Now that that's done, it's time to go into the kitchen and start frying these. I am looking forward to trying these out soon. So in the kitchen, I've got my large cast iron frying pan. I've poured in enough vegetable oil so that it's about 1.5 inches in depth. I cranked my burner up to high and heated the oil up to about 330, 340 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're just going to start frying the donuts. Now, you really don't want to overload the pan, so just fry like 4 to 5 donuts at a time. And it really doesn't take long for these to cook, about 2 to 3 minutes per side. They're going to get nice and golden brown, and once they do, that's when you flip them and fry for another 2 to 3 minutes. You use either like a slotted spoon or really any utensil that's not going to get damaged by super hot cooking oil. As you can see here, as I'm flipping them, they are nice and golden brown on the one side, so we flip them again and we cook them for another 2 to 3 minutes. Once they are cooked, oh look at those, once they are cooked, we're going to start taking them out and keep frying more donuts. So go get a baking sheet. I've put some paper towel down to suck up the excess oil, throw the donuts on, and then just repeat the process. Throw a couple of donuts in, 4 to 5 per frying session, and just fry them for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. It really isn't hard, it's just the hot oil that kind of, it can test your nerves if you're worried about all of this piping hot oil by an open flame. But once you fried them all, there you go. Look at those donuts. They look awesome. And really the only last thing to do is to work on the donut holes / Timbits. Now these are much smaller than the donuts, so these are only going to need to fry for like 2 to 3 minutes total. Once they're fried, similar to the donuts, fish them out of the oil, throw them on some paper towel, and now we're going to let all of these cool down for like half an hour before we go and glaze them. Look at those though. So after half an hour, it's time to start glazing these. Look at those donuts, they're nice and puffy and risen. Man, I'm really happy with how those turned out. But we still have to glaze these. So go get yourself a mixing bowl and into it add 3 cups of powdered sugar and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract or vanilla paste. And then we're going to add in some whole milk. Now, I added in about 4.5 tablespoons, but you can change that. You can add in less or more depending on how thick or thin you want your glaze to be. With 4.5 tablespoons, that's the consistency I got. It's almost like a glue consistency. So then go get your donuts, and then it's time to start just dunking these into your glaze. So I'm going to fully glaze them on both sides. So just dunk the one side, spin it around, and then just flip it over and dunk the other side. And then there you go. You've got yourself a glazed yeasted donut that looks and smells amazing. So I'm just going to throw it on a wire rack in my rimmed baking sheet here, and then just keep repeating the process. Next donut's in the glaze, spin it around, flip it around, and look at those donuts. Look at how beautiful they look. Wow. Okay, now I said in the intro I was going to make glazed donuts, but then I was also going to spice it up by dunking some of my donuts in some Fruity Pebbles. So there we go, I've got a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, like 2 cups of them. And then, similar to the original glazed donuts, I'm going to get myself one. Now, I'm only going to dip them on one side this time, and then I'm going to dip them into the Fruity Pebbles. So there's one done, and then I'm just going to repeat the process, get another donut, dunk it in the glaze, and then I'm going to dip it in the Fruity Pebbles, and then I'm going to throw it on my wire rack. All right, let's give you a shot of these. Oh, look at how fun those look. Look at those. Oh, the glazed donuts look awesome, and the Fruity Pebble donuts look so cool too. All right, you know what? I gotta go in and taste test these because it smells awesome, and yeah, with the first bite, they were really good. The donuts were nice and soft and sweet, and the Fruity Pebble ones tasted amazing. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I think Fruity Pebbles kind of taste like Earl Grey, so I really enjoyed them. Let me tell you, these were easy to make. Oh, you know what? There's Rose. I'm going to give her a quick bite. Guaranteed she'll like these too. But yeah, these were easy and absolutely delicious. So you should try making these at home. If you like making donuts, if you like doing things like this, you would really enjoy these. And the Fruity Pebble ones were really fun and they tasted awesome. But anyways, that is the end of the episode. I hope you like what you saw here today. If you did, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking. We'll see you again soon.